Hello, I am presenting a demo on 3D password. First, let us know about password. A password is a combination of actions and different characters which only the authorized users can understand it. Then, what is a 3D password? A 3D password are more customizable and very interesting way of authentication. It is the combination and the sequence of user interactions that occur in the 3D virtual environment. Here, the 3D virtual environment is an imaginary environment where the user can interact and create his own passwords, which will be more secured. The 3D environment contains interactive and figurative appearance where the user can interact with several objects or items. The environment different for different users. The type of interaction varies from one item to another. The objective of this technique mainly tells about the combinations in the 3D password. They are: first comes the recognition. It contains some of the patterns like graphical passwords or facial recognitions where we will be the using in the mobile phones for unlocking purpose. We'll be given the textual passwords like patterns or any passwords for app unlockment, the same kind. Second comes the recall. It contains the textual password, just as said, which will be recalled later. It's like user needs to recall his or her password which is created before. For example, we'll be generating the different characters as a passwords which should not be repeated, and it will be having some conditions for creating a Gmail accounts and many more. Third comes the tokens. It includes the ATM card or credit cards where the security pin will be generated that will be entered during the transactions. Finally, biometrics. It deals with the finger impression which works with the hardware devices. The 3D password presents a virtual environment where user walks through it, navigates and interacts with the objects. It is constructed by observing the sequences of interactions done by the user. All the actions, gestures and many things performed by the user will be recorded and confirmed while the user can log in easily. When I speak about the area, it is a technique that will be used with the virtual objects in our daily life. Since it is a 3D, the actions and the interactions will be done in a virtual environment. It can be used with the following objects. Some of them are computer where the user can type, he can set a password manually. Then comes the fingerprint reader where it requires a user's fingerprint. Then the ATM machines that requires a token that a user can generate, only he can be known. Then a light or fan that can be switched on or off with the generated positions. Finally, a car that can be driven. Next comes the methodology. Here, I go with the example to know brief about the system implementation. Let us consider a user who navigates through the 3D virtual environment that consists on a ground and a classroom. Let us assume that the user is in a virtual environment and he turns around and opens the door and does the further actions. So, here, when the user enters and opens the door, he will perform some of the actions. The actions performed by the user in this example is, firstly, he will enter the virtual environment and then he walks over and opens the door. Then he types the angel, the word angel. We are considering it as an example in a computer. That angel is nothing but a bunch of actions. In this, each alphabet will be given certain positions which represent simultaneous actions. After doing these actions, he turns off the light and closes the door. Then he can log in. Here, the positions for a particular actions are mentioned in this slide. So, if we mention those positions, certain actions will be performed. So, these actions or these positions will be known only to the user. Now, to know brief, now let us look into the state diagram, which tells us an imaginary working in a 3D environment. Let us consider this virtual environment as one game to know clearly about it. We have been playing 3D games on computers or phones for many years now. This game have ability to simulate any environment and user does some actions. So this computer simulation, this is nothing but a game. First we'll install the game, then if we start playing, some avatars will come, through that we'll play. If we compare with the game, so we can understand it clearly, how behind 3D environment, how it will work. So, security researchers taught us we can use this game simulation to create a password. So, this state diagram says, firstly, the user enters the username or any positions. Now, a 3D environment means a computer game is opened where user has to perform some specific actions. Performing actions is nothing but he will enter. Here it have been given moving inside a virtual environment. That is nothing but entering and performing some actions. The actions to be performed are, in games we see some avatars, as I said now, which helps to play. In the same way, the avatar goes to the environment where automatically a computer comes up in front of the user. That is imaginary, only he will be visible. Here the user is requested to generate a password. It may be a graphical one or textual one or biometric. Then the avatar goes to some place to perform actions, like what all the actions performed by the user in the environment will be performed by the avatar in the virtual environment. Just he will be doing the actions. He will be pressing the passwords, but those passwords will be recorded, and when he next time logins, that automatically corrects by the avatar. As I considered, after the password is created, here it has been given verification or verifying. That is nothing but it is verified and gives permission to access. If any of the actions are performed wrong, then the verification fails and user goes to the initial status of entering username. Again, he need to start from the first, entering, creating a password, reconfirming it and setting. So this gives the clear picture of working with the state diagram. Then comes the benefits. The benefits are, it provides more security than entering with the passwords, because first he need to enter a virtual environment, but with the manual passwords just anybody can does this. So it can't take by other persons easily, not so easily, but they must work. 3D graphical passwords has no limit, and the implementation of the system becomes easy if he is well versed, and that can be remembered easily also, because it's like actions, right? So man can do it easily, and it helps to keep a lot of personal data more securely. Then future scope. Future scope deals with the time and memory requirement can be reduced, and overcoming the attacks. There are many attacks in this, so that can be overcome, and some hardware devices are required, so that will be more expensive. So we can reduce it to less expensive cost, and implementing a 3D password in mobile phones will be more helpful in further generation. Next, a lot of programming code can be reduced. Finally, the conclusion says the 3D password is a multi-factor authentication scheme, and the unauthorized persons may not interact with same object at a particular location. It is difficult to crack because it has no fixed procedure or steps that everyone can do. Every person, as I said before, each and every person will have different 3D environment. So it will be according to his perspective. Then biometric and token verification schema is also unbreakable, and it is user's choice and decisions to construct the desired and preferred 3D passwords. These are the references. Thank you.